is Lou Ferrante, and you're listening to the great show, Verbal Shenanigans.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Herbal Shenanigans podcast. It's Thanksgiving week, Mike. It is honestly, to me, the best holiday of the year.
Oh, really? You put it right at number one and all.
I do.
I find some people try to treat it as the middle child, if you will, of the holidays.
You know why it's number one? Okay, because it involves sitting around. It involves football, it involves a good meal, it involves maybe some good drinks, but it's not a gift-giving holiday. You don't rat race of getting gifts and things like that is not
candy and costumes,
Easter baskets, this and that. It's just about the actual dinner, and then everything else I feel is very stress-free after that. Like, even if you're hosting, it's like, all right, it's stress to get the dinner on the table, and then after that it's pretty chill. You throw a couple pies on the table, crack a beer, and you're like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. Let's tune in to the night game or whatever it is. You know, it's now a solid holiday for me. It's number one in my book.
Now, at your gatherings, does anybody dress up, or is everybody under the understanding we're going to be having 5 pounds of food in our tummy? We're going to be loosening our belts. I'm not getting a nice dress shirt on for this.
For a second, when you said, does anybody dress up? I was like, do you guys dress like pilgrims and Indians? Like, are they coming in costumes?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
no
Why
doubt.
don't you promote your pilgrim heritage and dress up for the holiday?
Well, you're the one who claims to have this pilgrim heritage.
I am Pilgrim Mike, but I feel, I mean, you could dress up as like some Irish person with like begging to put potatoes in the ground in America and stuff like that. You could do something like that. I feel you had the range to figure out a character for that.
To answer your question, no, I don't think anybody really dresses up. You know, my mom will still throw on like a holiday-ish sweater, and she probably picks whatever outfit my dad is wearing, so he might have like a button-up shirt or something like that. But I'm like slap-on jeans, have a t-shirt on. Usually I'm in the kitchen. You know, it's there's no dressing up in my house.
Yeah, that's the best jeans, slap-on jeans. Nothing, just whack, it's on, let's go.
Just good old slap-on jeans. I am a fan. But if you're just tuning in, welcome to the show. Last week we had Eric Stover of the CEO of the Cosmos, who are coming back this spring. And we are back here tonight with a totally different lane here. But we are back. Mike, did you acquire any dogs during the week last week, or is this going to be a body week? Which one is it? We've determined that you have 3 stories that you just tell in different, variety.
I gotta be honest, with the holiday coming up, Scott, I didn't prepare a body, dog, or Disney item tonight. I'm coming in empty, like an oil can, if you will, and I don't know.
You're coming in empty like an oil can?
Yeah, I used up oil can that is empty. That's how I came
in your head
today.
when you were just trying to say that you're coming with no stories.
Yeah,
your metaphor or simile.
Well,
you were coming in like the first thing you could think of to compare yourself to was an empty oil can.
Well, around this time, The Wizard of Oz is playing. Wicked is coming out in theaters in Thanksgiving, and the poor damn Tin Man just standing there all frozen, rusted up. Oh, let's put some oil on it. Nope, empty oil can. What we gonna do?
whatever works for you, buddy. That's a nice backtrack you tried to do there, but
I thought I did decent, but go on with the regular stuff.
You're feeling empty like an oil can. We'll get you through. We'll get your feelings in check today, and you'll feel a lot, but you'll feel full like a
non-empty oil can. Like the one right on the shelf at the auto parts store. Yeah.
Mike, tonight's guest got me thinking a little bit.
The others didn't?
Not usually, no. Got me thinking a little bit about prison. Okay.
All right.
Now, do you think, like, if you had to go to prison, okay, let's say the body's finally caught up to you. They finally pinned one of these things on you, and they're like, okay, show us where the other ones are. You're going away for a long time. Do you think you in any way would be prepared for prison?
I highly doubt it. I cannot say I am one that has a history of fighting. I don't believe I can barely get along with regular people, let alone hardened criminals that have been in jail for years and know they're never getting out. Benefit is I'm able to read and write. If anybody needs to write letters or anything to that effect, but I guess they might have computers now in these jails. So
if you went into prison,
so my first thing I'm going to do, you know how you're supposed to punch the biggest guy in the face? My first day, I'm going to go into the library and break all the computers. So I'm like, all right, pencil and paper, who wants a letter?
They're like, this man can barely speak, but he's telling us he's going to teach us how to read and write.
Yeah.
So you're immediately going.
Well, they don't know how to do it, so they won't think anything twice about me doing it. It's just like, well, he wrote. Seems like he's writing it down. Looks cursive, and all he might be talented. I don't know.
Your first course of action is to pimp out your reading and writing skills right away.
Absolutely.
To give away a little bit. Okay.
That is the one skill I'm going to throw out there, and I think I got a prayer of making it out there in 30 or 40 years.
Now, what would scare you the most? Would it be the fear of the other inmates? Would it be the isolation? Would it be there's no dogs? The only dogs going in there are probably cell sniffing drug dogs and stuff like that you probably are not allowed to pet.
I know, that's terrible.
What fear is brought upon the most when you think
picking the right gang to join? I feel there'll be so many options. I think they'll be all welcoming when they see me, and I just I don't like to let people down, so I wouldn't know which side to pick and all from.
So you'd walk up to the Black Israelites and be like, "Hey guys, I think I'd be a good team member."
Yeah. I'd like to give you my resume. I have various qualities. I can read and or write at any moment.
Guys, I'm a blank canvas. In fact, I'm like an empty oil can. You can use me, abuse me.
Whatever you need, that oil can is full. Believe me that.
So I went online a little bit, okay, and I went online and posted that I'm going to be going away to prison for a year. Does anybody have any advice? I'm really scared. So I guess I figure I'd just go through some of this advice with you, Mike. The first person says, as someone who works on the inside, okay, everything comes with a price. No one is going to be nice to you because you have nice hair. Alternately, if you do someone a favor, like loan them a soup or a phone call, they owe you. You have to cash in on that favor. Otherwise, you're going to be punked out. So, Mike, I don't suggest you go in there just giving away your reading and writing skills. I think.
But then they will owe me. It's like, I wrote your wife the sexy letter. Now you owe me. Okay.
So you think that's a decent idea to just start giving away, and that's how you're.
And now I know, when I go to jail, I bring soup. Because then they give it out, and then it's like, oh, now you owe me a favor.
You don't get to bring things to jail. You don't get to like gather your belongings and be like,
I'm
need this.
sure the warden will allow me to bring in various cans of soup. Like I will, maybe I'll fool him and be like, no, it's empty like an oil can. Don't look in there. And
that's Mikey Oil Can. He's known all through the state. Oh no, he's empty. Mike, stand your ground. Okay, people are going to test you in the most minute ways, like putting their feet on your bed or sitting on it without permission. So, if someone comes and just sits on your bed, you need to stand your ground and say, "Get off my bed." Like you got to really be aggressive about this. I feel like this is where you're going to have a problem.
No, I'll look him straight in the face and I'd be like, "Hey, move over. I'm going to sit on the other side and all." And then,
right,
I'm a compromising kind of convict that I am.
All right, let's role play here. I am the inmate. You are Mikey Oil.
I am Mike. Yeah.
Mikey Oil Cans.
Yeah.
I come strutting into your bedroom and I go, "Oh, my feet are tired, and I'm gonna put them right on this here damn bed, boy."
Well, you're not going to put it there because I'm going to sit my butt over there and write a nice little letter for you. If you want this beautiful handwritten gesture, since somebody broke up all the computers a couple hours ago, you're going to have to move your feet to the foot of the bed. That's why they call it the foot of the bed.
Boy, go sit on your soup in the corner. My feet are staying on this bed.
Well, if you want some of this delicious soup that I'm preparing in the toilet, you're going to have to move those feet over, okay? If you want letters and toilet soup, you're going to work with Oil Can Burlew.
Was it Oil Can Boyd?
Oil Can Boyd.
Yeah,
you're thinking of the Red Sox and all.
Yeah. The biggest rule, Mike, mind your business. You see nothing, you hear nothing, and you definitely do not speak on anything. You can't speak on anything, Mike. That's going to be a problem for you.
Yeah, especially when we do the podcast and all. I mean, there's some weeks that you come in and you're like, "Burlew, you got to fill some time." So when I'm podcasting in the jail, I'm sure I'm going to be like, you ain't going to believe who got raped yesterday. You're just not going to believe it. It's a funny story. Let me get through it. And
I'm going to tell you who did it too, and what time, and what he looked like. Yeah, I feel like you're going to spill the beans like immediately on something. You're going to narc on somebody pretty quickly.
I'll give you a hint. He moved his feet over so I could sit down and prepare some soup for him.
All right, this guy had some great tips. Okay, garbage cans have value. Oh no, garbage can have value.
Soups and garbage cans bring into the prison. Got it.
Garbage itself. Before you go, learn how to use your garbage to make things, Mike. You can use your discarded wrappers to make all sorts of stuff. So if you're going away to prison, Mike, instead of bringing soup, you should be spending that time thinking about what you can make out of your garbage.
Like, depending on what state I'm locked up in, maybe I can get a hairdryer and show the inmates how to melt snow, like I invented way back when as a kid. That way they have a trait when they get out of prison, and they'll owe me even more afterwards.
So the warden's just letting you in with endless amounts of soup and a hairdryer at the moment.
I would assume that. I mean, I don't think I'm that convicted of a felon. You know what I mean? Where you go in with nothing. I feel they're like, you know what, Burlew, you're kind of cool. You got that sweet little nickname and everything, Oil Can. So we're going to give you partial guilty. So you go to jail, but you can bring in whatever you want. You know, that's a justice system I know.
Okay. Look up gum wrapper, wallets, bags, chains. All have value in jail. Learn it before you go. I figured out how to make picture frames out of chip wrappers and made bank. If you can draw, you can do very well, like really well. Drawing portraits from pictures and tattoo ideas will keep you in, okay? Learn how to dye and tie, harvest cotton threads. The longer, the better. It has to be cotton, but that is plentiful once you get a bunk and some clothes. Now harvest some color pieces from the spine of books. Hardback books have dyed tape on their spine. Mix the tape with water, and the water will turn whatever color the tape is. Use that dye to dye cotton strands. You can make bracelets and envelopes, and dude can mail them to their loved ones, Mike. You could have your own little arts and crafts in your cell.
I could make friendship bracelets and bring the entire jail together. That would be amazing. Maybe find a way to get like some cubes and make those Swifty little bracelets, and we'd be a perfect little gang and all. And maybe Taylor will come and perform for us at some point.
This guy said there's not that much to worry about in jail, Mike. This guy said his dad was in and out of prison his whole life, but he said most people get their butts kicked for saying something racist or stupid. Well, you're clear.
Well, I'm good with the first part. I mean, I better not. Hopefully, nobody listens to that big support of the Klan comment I did a while back. But
yeah, or the peach salsa.
Oh, the ethnic salsa. Yeah.
But this guy, he says most people get their butts kicked for saying something stupid or racist, not the weirdo rape stuff. You think a bunch of tough dudes are going to be cool with a guy who's trying to go down on another guy. What I'm thinking is this guy's dad got raped a lot, but didn't want to tell his son.
Yeah,
he wanted to be like, nah, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, he went with the cool dad story versus the constantly butt stuffed dad part. He kept it PG for the family so the children could look up to Grandpa Criminal up there and all.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of tips there, but how could we go on? I'm just reminded of two dudes hooking up in prison, and it reminded me of our dear old president. How do we not talk about this leading into the show? Do you see these what are currently rumors, Mike, about our president Donald Trump?
Yeah. Not as
the greatest rumor of all time.
Yeah, like when somebody goes, "Hey, I saw something," and the president did something to another president, it's like, oh, you gave him a handshake, they made a peace treaty together, something like that. Didn't see what was announced coming in any direction. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, this is the greatest rumor ever because this is just going to show us what bullshit side you are on and willing to defend, because it just blows up both sides. Like I've been saying forever, release these damn files and let it run through both sides of the government and clear, actually, the old drain the swamp thing. Let it actually drain the swamp. Let's see everybody. I want to see celebrities. I mean, I don't want to see anybody on it, but if we're going to release it, I want to know everybody's on it, because now we got rumors that Donald Trump is blowing Bill Clinton. This is watching Republicans' heads explode and Democrats just be like, well, Bill was a good and then they're like, no, Trump wouldn't do that. It's glorious watching people figure out how to defend. They're basically like, well, mine didn't do this, or my guy didn't rape. Like they're comparing like pedophile stats.
Yes, like right now somebody is screaming, no, my president was a power bottom. Don't you dare tell me anything different. It's really amazing the twisting that's going on. Like at one point it's going from, well, Bubba doesn't necessarily mean Bill Clinton to, well, even if it happened, what's wrong with that? I thought you're all for gay rights and stuff like that. And I've heard it go so far as, well, even if he was on the island, what's wrong with that kind of moment where it's just so super ridiculous how you can't just go, okay, if this is true, it's just an item in time, whatever your thoughts are, like you could literally say, I see all this and it's like, I still support my president or this or that, but everybody has to twist it. And no, you want to think it's this, but I swear it's really that. And even if it is, what's wrong with that? The people I feel worse for is the LGBTQ community, because like there's a part of them that's got to be going like, okay, do we support a coming out in this scenario? Like, like would you go, woohoo, we gotta?
It's just, we talked a couple times on this show about like I always use Michael Jackson as the example. He is just bulletproof. There's full-on documentaries about him like loving children and having children around and taking but you play Beat It and you play ABC and people just completely forgive Michael Jackson. No,
dude, we got a Broadway play of him right now, and everyone's like, woo-hoo.
Yep, that man is the true Teflon Don. And this is what we are seeing now. Like, people will follow this man till the end of the earth. It doesn't matter if there's pictures of him and Bill Clinton post-coitus snuggling, having a cigarette together. They will be like, well, it's the Democrats' fault. And then the Democrats, now they can't decide what they want to do now. It's hilarious. It's like, well, we want the files out, but because now it's Trump, and now Trump's saying, like, release them all. How this plays out, you know how this all plays out. Nothing gets released again. No. And we just get this little tidbit to play with and light the internet on fire for a little bit, and nothing's going to come out of this. We're going to once again be kept in the dark. This was just, let's feed the people a little bit so they get fired up, but the full thing is never coming out.
I feel the only good thing that we might get from this, if we get we go back to old school 80s comedies and all. Like, I need the guys who did Hot Tub Time Machine or Seth Rogen or some of these comedians that used to do these raunchy movies, and we need an Epstein Island movie and just go, you know what? If we're not going to face it, let's just mock every single thing about it and have the most insane 2-hour, let's go as raunchy as humanly possible. Nobody cares because everybody will watch it, and then just to turn around and be like, well, they didn't get that part right. It was hilarious when I saw this part, but that other part, I didn't appreciate it.
I so naively said a couple times on the show, like, maybe releasing the Epstein files would be something to unite the country together, to get rid of politics. It's proving that this can never happen ever again. We will never see a time where any political figure is like respected by both sides or anything like that, or being like, well, I didn't vote for him, but he's my president. Those days are long gone. We have an island full of underage girls that celebrities and politicians flew to go partake in this island, and we are choosing sides on it. That is the most hilarious part of it all.
We're getting to the point where you look at like Bond villains that say, I'm going to blow up the earth. Mm-hmm. And there will be people who go, yeah, 100% support. Yeah. You know what? You all say that we can't end global warming. So yeah, let's blow up the earth. Why not? No.
Just get rid of this thing. But yeah, we are in very, very strange times here, and it's only going to get worse. So everybody strap on in.
Yep, because we'll have another episode next week.
Yep. Yeah. All right, Oil Can. What do we got tonight?
Tonight we are talking with Louis Ferrante. Lou is a former heist expert and mobster for the Gambino family. Louis has reformed from those days and has gone on to become an author of books such as the Borgata Trilogy, A History of the American Mafia, and television host for Inside the Gangster's Code, an amazing story. So I think we should not delay in getting to Lou on the show, Scott. I think you should stop the Epstein talk and go to Lou.
Let's get Lou on the line. Look good, sound good. Thank you, Lou, for giving us a few minutes here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Lou, I guess we'll start off right away by asking, I mean, with all being in the mob, all the history that you know of with all your books and all, when you see something come out with like the NBA, with this gambling stuff, when people are so shocked, is that even like registered like a blink of an eye in your eye, or is it something you've seen so many times it's unreal?
You've seen it a million times, and kind of like I have a different take on it. I know that the prosecutors and the FBI have a really good handle on the mob now. And they've got a lot of confidential informants. They kind of know what they're up to regularly, and they can make a big bust whenever they want. So I know right away, this is sort of like, trot the mob out every once in a while, show that you're still, they're still active They're still a threat. But really, are they? If you look at the indictments, they're really not. They're not even like, they're sort of like a shell of what they once were. When I was on the streets back in the 80s, late 80s and early 90s, I went to jail in 1994. But until then, the mob guys I was around controlled so much of the major industries. The industrial racketeering was incredible. They had a lot of the unions. They had Teamster unions, locals. They had the garment industry. They had the construction industry. They poured concrete. Not a yard of concrete was poured on any job more than $2 million. They controlled the rebar that went into the buildings. A friend of mine was supplied even like a lot of skyscrapers with rebar. So they had all that locked down. They had the meat industry. And look at them now. I mean, now they've kind of like gone back to the basics, loan sharking, gambling.
Yeah.
So they're resilient in a sense, but I don't think that they're anywhere near what they were.
Do you think a lot of that has to do with how easily things are, quote unquote, paper trailed now, and how everything is controlled digitally and bank accounts, and things are a lot more accessible and more clear to see? Do you think that adds to their maybe less power, if you will?
Definitely. I can't even imagine now. So I used to hijack trucks and do heists. So if I was to attempt that now, I would be on camera the whole time.
Sure.
I had guys I was away with in the penitentiary that came home and thought they were going to pull off a jewelry heist in Manhattan. Cameras followed them for an hour before and an hour after. It was like the simplest collar. Even think about when John Gotti took over the Gambino family and he killed Paul Castellano in front of Sparks Steakhouse in Manhattan. Nowadays, not only would there be cameras all over that block, but the pedestrians who were witnesses, they'd be filming it on their iPhones. They would be literally taking selfies next to the bodies before the cops even arrive.
It would be on World Star by 20 minutes after that event happened.
So I don't even know how. I don't know how guys think that they're gonna get away with stuff. I think it's all, it's when they want to pinch you, they could come down on you. Yeah, that's my opinion.
So let's talk a little about like your youth and getting into the mob and all. As you talked about, you would steal cars. You eventually got a chop shop and start doing that. Kind of give a grasp of what are the. Did you know about the mob? Do they come to you? What's kind of like the first initial interaction between you guys?
In the beginning, I didn't really have any idea. My family, my father's side were legitimate people. My mother's side were crooked, but I didn't know exactly to what extent. I mean, from when I was a little kid, I used to go visit my uncle in jail. My uncle was a hijacker, my mother's brother. And he was doing a bid in Sing Sing for hijacking. He was there for a few years. And I could remember we used to get all kinds of food and stuff and bring it up to him and, leave him. He used to get it. He was allowed to get like a 50-pound package or something at the time. I can't remember exactly. That's what I used to get when I was in jail, 50-pound when I went to the state. But I can't remember what my uncle used to get. Maybe it was 30 pounds, whatever the case is. We would pack a package. We'd go up to visit him. So I knew, I kind of I had an idea. My uncle's in jail. My mother's side's crooked, but they weren't mafia. My uncle stood up, by the way, too, when he got pinched for a hijacking. He said, look, I got paid X amount of dollars to drive from point A to point B. I didn't know there was a guy tied up in the back. And he went away, so that was that. And my grandfather was proud of him. That is, as much as my grandfather cried because he's losing his son, his son's going to jail. I remember my grandfather was proud that he didn't snitch. So, that's sort of like the way I grew up. And then I'm chopping cars and eventually I started hijacking trucks. And then at some point I put together a good crew and we're doing big things. And then they're going to find you. A lot of people nowadays online, people will go, oh, he was just running a heist crew. He was paying extortion to the mob. Nobody was extorting me. You do it because you want to do it. You could tell them to go after themselves. They don't have a right to come and get. And you could, you don't have to deal with them. There are other fences I dealt with outside the mob. So you got your own thing going on. But I wanted to be with them when I learned who they were, because you make a lot more money. You got a lot more connections. And it's also too like an ego thing. now, like you're watching movies, you're watching Goodfellas, you watch The Godfather, and you're like, oh, like I could be part of this whole thing, like, and your mind runs away with you. And I think a lot of guys go through that where, they're sucked into it. They think it's more romantic than it is. And it turns out to be just like, it's a big cesspool. I got to tell you, it really is. I don't miss it. I miss the camaraderie a little. I miss the adrenaline rush of pulling off a heist. That's pretty exciting. I skydived. That didn't do it for me. But I don't miss the crime and hurting people, victims and stuff. That shit I don't.
Yeah. Do you, when you like first start doing a job for the mob, like, is there, like, do you know you're in immediately, or is it like, I don't even know if I'm in yet? And is there some kind of like initiation, like, okay, you're with us, or do you got to pull a job off first for them? Like, when do you know you're part of the group?
So I was an associate. So I went away in 1994. Mm-hmm. I was just 24, turning 25 when I went to jail. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get straightened out yet. I didn't have, like what they say, my button, the initiation ceremony. I thought I was cheated at the time because friends of mine that I went, that I was very close with, shortly after I went away, they were put up. This is what they say. And they got straightened out. They got their buttons. And I wanted mine. I wanted to eventually get a button. That's what the whole thing was for. And once again, by the grace of God, when I woke up in prison and realized that all this was garbage and that's not how my mother raised me, I just, although my mother's family was crooked, she wasn't. She was like, we used to joke around and say she was like Madeline from the Munsters, because her family was all nuts, but she was like this normal person. So like, you got to be like our age to know that, right? But kids today, I don't think they'd know Madeline from the Munsters. But anyway, me and my sister used to say that. So like, you kind of like you don't realize you're kind of being groomed for it. Yeah. And you're meeting different people, and you're learning things from different people. People teaching you as you go. You're around different people. It's a whole subculture that you can't imitate. You can't fake it. Prison too. Once you're a hardened con, people know it. Like I remember when I was transferred, I did time in I was first sent to the max. They classified me as dangerous and sent me to the worst penitentiary in the country. It wasn't a super max where guys are locked down 24/7 or 23. It was a max where you could get killed because everybody's in the population, but it's a violent place. My very first day in the general population, there was a double homicide. The Aryan Brotherhood hacked to death and gutted 2 black Muslims. To give you an idea what it was like there. So I was in prison for years when I finally reversed one of my cases and I went down to the state. And I walked into a county jail and there were some guys playing cards and I had like an oversized jumpsuit. They probably figured I was, by then I'm reading, I'm starting to look like a bookworm. I don't look like I used to look. I'm a different person. And somebody said, "Yo, shorty, get over here." And I go, "Who the F are you talking to?" And I'm right up in his face. And I go, "You got a problem with me, MFer?" And he's with all his friends. They were playing cards together and they just like said, "No. Not at all." They knew they were dealing with a hardened convict. You can't fake that. So like, if I just got in off the street, like is what they thought, then I might have said, oh, what do you need? I probably would. That's not my nature. I've done that anyway, but that's probably how they were trying to size me up to see if I would. But basically they know you're a hardened con. It's the same on the streets. You can't fake it. You're around people all day. A lot of guys nowadays have become informants. So they were faking something to some extent. And we know that after they turn informant, we know that they were playing a role and they really didn't have the stamina to go the distance. And there are guys, you would be surprised, a lot of guys. Jimmy Ida, for example, was a friend of mine. He was a consigliere of the Genovese family. He got life. Jimmy Ida is a little bit of a guy. He looks like a Q-tip. He's a small guy, skinny. Not only was he a tough guy on the street, but he took life on the chin and had no problem. And then sometimes you'll see a big, tough looking guy, cauliflower ears, broken nose, scars. He looks like, he eats people for breakfast and he cries in his pillow. So you never know who's, only God only knows what's inside each one of us. And we all go through things. And some of us are tough at different times in our life for different reasons. There might be look at the greatest generation, the guys who hit the beaches at Normandy, they hit the beaches, they stormed Okinawa, those Iwo Jima, those guys were like, I don't think they realized how tough they were until it was time to get off those boats. And I know right now, as tough as I thought I was then, I'd have been crapping in my pants on one of those boats because you got bullets flying over your head. You're probably not going to make it off the beach. Yeah. So, who knows what we have inside of us till we go through it.
And when you're in prison, that's when you start getting really into reading and writing. I'm kind of curious, when you start, are you really thinking, man, when I get out, this is something, or is this just totally, I'm passing the time, whatever happens, I'm just enjoying what I can with the rest of my life?
It's a good question. I fell in love with books. I was in the hole for something somebody else did. You get locked up in the hole. It's like a prison within a prison. So when I got out of the hole, I wanted to sort of, like, I had an epiphany in the hole, and I wanted to read. And I was tired of just playing cards and gambling. You gamble in jail too, by the way. Like, people exchange money on the outside for you. People will come up on a visit, maybe your friend meets his friend, and people trade thousands on the street, that they win or lose in jail. And then you got in the penitentiary, there's also currency in the penitentiary. When I got to the penitentiary, I saw this. I never saw anything like it before in my life, and I can't even imagine it to this day. It was like a beat up carton of cigarettes kind of smashed into a ball with duct tape around it. And somebody's trading it for something as a carton of cigarettes. And I go, that ain't a carton of cigarettes. And he goes, oh, it still is in here. It's currency. So, like, the prison has its own currency, and that was once a carton. So even though it's beat to crap and it's taped up, it's a carton of cigarettes still in jail. So that was kind of weird. But getting back to the books, I just didn't want to waste all those years, and I was facing life at the time. So I figured, if I'm never going to leave here, I still want to better myself. I never had an opportunity I never went to college, university. I was literate, but I never had an opportunity to kind of I never read a book before in my life, cover to cover. My father read the first book my father ever read was in his 60s, was one of my books. And, he went to high school. He didn't go to college or university, but he was literate. He went to high school. Just never read a book. You cheat your way through school. You do book reports with, Cliff Notes or whatever. You have somebody help you. A lot of people I know never read a book cover to cover. So I'm in jail. There's nothing to do. I'm like, I'll start reading. And I fell in love with books. Right away, I knew I found something that I loved, because every time I turned a page, I was even learning new vocabulary words, and I would write down the vocabulary words. I bought a dictionary in jail, and I would look up the words and write the definition next to it. And then I would study them at night before I went to sleep, so I could get a little bit of a better vocabulary by the morning. And then I just kept flipping through the pages and keep going. And then the first book might have took me a couple of weeks to read, the next one a week, the next one 3 days or 4 days. And before you know it, I'm reading a book a day. I would start a book in the morning. And then by the time they yelled lock in, I was done, 300 page, 400 page book in one day. If it was 1,000, maybe 2 days. But I was knocking them out left and right. And then at some point I said, I could write. Why can't I write? I've read literally hundreds, if not thousands of books by then. I was in jail for years, and I'm knocking them out left and right. I said, I think I could write. And I just started. I woke up from a dream one night. I started writing, and I wrote a novel about, so like when I was on the street, I grew up in Queens, and it was like a real, like I hear people scream and yell all the time, diversity, diversity, diversity. I'm like, these people must not know what diversity is to be constantly screaming it. Because if you grew up in my neighborhood, your whole life was diversity. You have friends who are Jewish, Muslim, German, Irish, Italian, Greek, Haitian, Jamaican. You got every kind of thing right within a couple of blocks of your house. So I'm in jail now, and the racial lines are super firm. There's no, it's gangs, and it's strong, very, very strong racial lines. And you just can't walk over and go, I'm going to hang out with the blacks today, because the whites are going to go, what are you doing over there? And the blacks are going to go, this guy must be a sucker. He must have been kicked out of the whites. So there's strong racial lines. So, the murders I talked about briefly accentuated it in Lewisburg when the Aryan Brotherhood was at war with the black Muslims. And the black Muslims, by the way, they weren't a religion. It was more of a prison gang that kind of like doubles as a religion. These guys are very, very dangerous too. In the pen, I'm not saying there are plenty of Muslims I met in jail who are religious. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the black Muslim gang in the pen, just as dangerous as the Aryan Brotherhood. And those guys, went at each other and they traded bodies left and right for a while. So that's like a real deal. So this sort of like that led me to, I went to sleep one night and I was thinking about, I was reading, I think an Abraham Lincoln book or something about the Civil War or pre-Civil War, and it said something about how blacks were sold on auction blocks. So I'm like, wow, I can't believe I probably learned about slavery when I was a kid, but I can't imagine a human being being sold on an auction block. That's like crazy. And I wrote a book about the antebellum South, about a slave plantation. And as it turns out, I didn't know anything about political correctness, anything about, I don't know politics. What the hell do I know? I'm on the street. We call each other. Guys call me Wop, Guinea. They're my friends. I don't take offense to it. And I call them every name you could think of. We loved each other. So I don't know political correctness whatsoever. So I write this book. That's the first book I ever wrote in prison. I come home and I'm like, I want to publish it. And everybody's like, you're not allowed to write that book. All the agents and editors I'm going to see. I'm like, what are you talking about? They go, you're not black and you're not a woman. The hero, the heroine is a woman. So she's a heroine. And I go, but it's about blacks and whites. And it's about, and the whites, there are good ones and bad ones. And the blacks, there are good ones and bad ones. It's a mix of everything. You're not allowed to write it. So lo and behold, over 20 years later, I still haven't published that book. I'm trying now again. I just sent it out. So I don't believe in all that PC crap. I'll be honest with you. I don't like it. It's just, to me, it's wrong. I think if we're going to be one human family, we need to get rid of all the guidelines that people build around us and just let us be. And I think that's sort of like the key to happiness. And until we get there, we're not going to have it. But
what is like, you go from, getting involved in crime early on to spending a good amount of time in prison. What is the most important thing you had to either learn or unlearn to kind of join civilian life, as far as like, okay, I'm out now, I got to start over, I got to behave myself. Like, what was the biggest change for you? Yeah,
another great question. I haven't been asked any deep questions in years. Wow, that's great. So when I went to prison, before I went to prison, you had asked me like the introduction into that world and life, how that happens. And it's a gradual, you're going through gradual changes. It's like growing and evolving like we do in anything in human life, right? Mm-hmm. So you kind of like, it's a different social contract. You're learning things, and it happens over a period of time. And before you know it, you wake up one day and you don't realize, oh wow, I'm a mobster. Oh wow, I don't. I'm a heist guy who has his own crew. This is like Jesse James. This is like, what the hell? And so you don't realize all that until I thought about it when I'm locked up later. But coming home was more of a traumatic event that's compacted into like a moment where I literally just like was like, what the F? I'm literally, I get picked up by my family and friends, and we're driving home from prison, and I've been locked up 8.5 years. So I faced life. I got sentenced to 13 years I copped out to avoid a life sentence if we went to trial, me and my co-defendants. None of us cooperated. We copped out as a global plea together. And I got the most time of all the co-defendants because they had me sort of as like the quote unquote mastermind. I wasn't a mastermind, but sort of like the head of the crew, put the jobs together. So I studied law. I went through 7 different attorneys. I've hired I had William Kunstler, the famous civil rights attorney. He was great, but then he dropped dead on me after I was in jail like a year, and he dropped dead on me. Then I had hired and fired another 6 attorneys. I went through like 7, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and eventually decided if I'm going to get myself out of jail, I got to do this myself, because the lawyers just keep BSing me and taking retainers and telling me stories, and they don't even look up a case. It's like it's a scam to them. They may come into the system with good intentions, but the system wears them down, a lot of these lawyers. And eventually they just like living the high life, luxurious lives, and taking big money as much as they could get off guys. But especially when they land somebody who's got a few bucks, like a mob guy, that, they're thrilled. So I gave, by the way, there was a biography about William Kunstler where the guy did his homework, a professor, and I think he said that I gave William Kunstler $100,000, which was true. I gave him $100,000 just to start. But anyway, I eventually reversed my own case, so I got out in 8.5 years. So I'm in the can for 8.5 years. I was in the max for a while, then I got cut down after good behavior for a while. I got sent down to a medium, and then after I reversed my case, I still had state time because I had 3 cases. So I went over to the state to finish my state time. I got hit up the parole board as soon as I got there. So I had to do a deuce in the state. They hit me with 2 years. And by the way, just to give you a quick story, I go for parole when I get to the state. And I had all these, I taught history classes. I taught literacy. I not only taught myself, but then I wanted to spread education to other people. So I really went out of my way to teach other convicts. If they were illiterate, I wanted to teach them how to read. If they wanted to learn about history, I wanted to teach them history. I gave them my books, and I would if a guy was Asian or Chinese, I would say he has a biography on Mao Zedong or Chiang Kai-shek or Zhou Enlai. If he was black, he has a great biography on Nelson Mandela or an autobiography of Martin Luther King. If he was Greek, here are the ancient Greeks. He has Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Read this stuff. It's great. The Greeks gave us the Western philosophy that we know today. So I would always promote it, and I would start little classes, and I had all these commendations. I go for parole, and the board hits me right away. They didn't care. So I'm like, well, I can't believe they hit me with a deuce. So 2 years later, I go back, and all I got left, if they hit me again, is like 5 or 6 months, whatever it was. It wasn't a lot of time. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't kowtowing to these people. Left them. I'll just read, kick back on my bunk, and read another 100 books or whatever. Let them hit me. So I go in front of the parole board. What have you done? Nothing. What are you going to do when you get out? I don't know. I'm being like a real badass, and they let me go. And they let me go. So there's no rhyme or reason to this garbage. But anyway, P.S. I get out, and literally in the car that I was sitting in, I'd been on a bus going to a different pen, because you get transferred, but it's far and few in between when you're on these buses. And I'm in a car now. I'm on a highway. They're doing 70 miles an hour, and I'm literally like holding the armrest. I'm digging my nails into the armrest because I feel like I'm in a rocket ship. I feel like I'm literally on like the Apollo 13 or something, and I'm going, what the? And then I finally get an apartment, and I had all these like little tics that I couldn't get rid of. Like I'm washing my clothes in a bucket, and my sister comes over and goes, what the hell are you doing? I got a washing machine and dryer in my house. So the laundromat on the corner. I'm still washing my clothes in a bucket like I'm in jail. Then I would get a water, and I would get my water from the sink and carry it to my bed and leave it next to my bed at night, because you're locked in a cell, and you want to go to sleep. If you want, you steal a little something from the chow hall for a late night meal. So I put a snack with my water next to the bed. You could go to the refrigerator or the cabinet. You're free. Like I'm not picking up on these things little by little as it's coming to me. I'm breaking old habits. And then I would still also wake up, and sometimes I'd be soaking wet, and I'm like, oh man, I'm in jail again. I'm in the pen. I could literally hear people screaming, somebody just got stabbed on A block. They just took out somebody on A block. And I'm listening to this, and I'm going, oh man, I'm still here. And then you wake up, and it takes a minute to come to, and you realize I'm in a king size bed.
Yeah.
I'm in a 4-poster bed. What am I doing? I'm home. You got to pinch yourself. So there was like a lot of that. The probation officer that I had, I could say his name now because I want to tip my hat to him. His name is Ed Canali. He was a federal probation officer. I had federal and state parole and federal probation. The federal probation officer, Ed Canali, was such a gem of a guy. And he goes, I was trying to violate you right away. He goes, I didn't think you were serious, so I sat on your house. I figured you didn't have a license, but you must be driving. I looked at your jacket and figured this guy's going back to the mob. And eventually he was convinced that I wasn't. And he turns out to be my friend, and he's tried to really help me in every which way he could. He would, say, hey, they're doing this writing seminar in the city. Why don't you try to attend? He was a really good guy. I bumped into Richie Gotti once, John Gotti's nephew, and he was on this list that they gave me of like 300 guys I couldn't be around or I would go back to jail. And if they said, if we even just see you walking one way and they're walking the other and we snap a picture, you're going to jail. So I bumped into him in a diner. So I said to Richie, I go, Rich, do you mind if I call my probation officer? If you're being watched, I'm busted. And he goes, oh yeah, the agents are right in the parking lot. So I'm like, oh man, I'm done. So I said, you don't mind me calling? I'm just going to tell him I bumped into you by accident. And he goes, no problem. So I called Ed and I go, Ed, listen, Mr. Canali, I said at the time, he's my friend now, 20 something years later. We're dear friends. He's a great guy. But at the time I go, hey, Mr. Canali, I bumped into somebody who's on my list. I wanted to let you know in case you get a photo across your desk. I did not know he would be there. He did not know I'd be there. We said hello. We gave each other a hug and a kiss. And he actually picked up my tab too, which was very generous of him. But I just said we gave each other a hug and a kiss and kept it moving. And he goes, I'm glad you told me in case I see something. So I kind of like in time, he had my trust. I had his. And I felt like, he wasn't looking to just violate me. And I wasn't looking to go back to that world. He knew that. And he turned out becoming my friend. I waited for him to retire before we could really stay in touch like regularly. And he just retired a couple of years ago. So, but anyway, yeah, it was a traumatic experience coming home because it's too quick. And I really feel bad for people. I had a support group. I had family and friends. I feel so bad when people come home and, they're going to a shelter. They don't have anybody. Maybe they burn their bridges. Some of them are deserving of it in a sense. Some of them aren't. Some of them just had bad luck. And, they just really, mom died, father cut out, and they just don't have anybody to go home to. Those people have a really tough time, I think, the toughest, because the little money that they give you runs out pretty quick. And then you need something to keep you going. And otherwise you're going to steal. And I think, a lot of these people, the rate of recidivism is so high because a lot of them don't know what the hell else to do when, the shelter tells you got to find a job, but nobody wants to hire you. Look, I'm not a bleeding heart or anything like that. I'm not like prison rights guy. I'm just saying that some guys call for their own circumstances. They burnt every bridge. It's the fifth or sixth bid they're doing, but some guys didn't. They just had hard luck. And there's not really, if you don't have people to go home to, it's a tough life. I had people, I'm glad, I got my sister driving me around looking for an apartment. I got friends who were ready to look, Lou, what do you need? I kept my mouth shut all those years. They know that. They're willing to do anything for me. So, it just made my life a lot easier coming home, and it was still hard.
You obviously got to learn a lot of skills when you're in prison, and you came out and you made a lot of great books about like the history of the mob and the mafia. You've done television shows. One that stuck out to me, I'm kind of interested about the book 3 Pound Crystal Ball. Can you kind of talk about where you came up with that idea and went off that, which seems to be a little off the path of what people would think you would write about?
So I'm talking to a couple of intellects, I see, because nobody brings up that book. No,
that was on my list too, actually.
Oh man, nobody's ever brought up that book. Man, thank you. So yeah,
our pleasure.
Yeah,
also, that's the first time we've ever been associated with the word intellect before.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You're already our favorite guest of the year. So.
That's great, man. That's great. So I got a friend. He's a plumber, and he's like hot major intellect. So, and one of my favorite authors, I was just say, you never heard intellect before. Sometimes regular guys.
Oh yeah.
My favorite author was, Eric Hoffa. He wrote, one of his books, I've read them all. One of his books was incredible. It's about the mind of like an ideologue, and it's incredible. The guy worked on the docks. Yeah. And he was just a genius, and he read in his free time. So yeah, you never there's no suit and tie on you guys. So I was like, blown away. I'm like, whoa, these guys look like they're going to crack open a beer, and they just hit me with the 3 pound crystal ball. That's great. Okay, cool. So, I start to have dreams. I'll give it to you quick as I can, like in a nutshell, the theory. When I'm a kid, I grow up on the corner where there's a double stop sign, a two-way stop sign. And cars are always blowing the stop sign and totaling out. And so from when I'm a kid, there's a couple of major accidents there a year. So I would sometimes have a dream. I'll give you an example. I'm in my bed and I'm a kid and I'm having a dream that I'm in the stands of like NASCAR and I'm watching the race and the cars are going by and, Dale Earnhardt is coming up now and the checkered flag. And all of a sudden the car goes flying into the stands, bangs into a pole. And I kind of like, it's a dream for me. But as I start to slowly wake up, I'm starting to hear chatter on my corner and I'm saying, son of a gun, the bang in my dream was the bang of the car outside my window. That was it was an external incident that really happened. And my mind set up the whole scenario leading up to it. So that's just one example. I would have these dreams constantly. So now I go to jail and, you don't have to be up in the morning. The only good thing about jail, like you come home, you got bills, you got mortgage, you got car payments, you got, life is life. You got to get by. Every day is a struggle for everybody, all of us. When you're in jail, and this is why some people like to go back to jail, you got nothing to do but kind of kick your feet up and do whatever you want. And a lot of people like that sort of like prison/freedom. Like that, I don't have to worry about the electric bill. I just turn on the light when I want in my cell. I don't have to worry about the heating or air conditioning bill. It's there, paid for me. So you get a lot of people, like I've seen people who are ready to leave and they went out, they went over and caught an assault. And I'm like, that guy's an idiot. He's on his way out the door. He just caught himself in assault. And then people would say, no, he wanted that. He's been looking for one. He wants to stay. So anyway, I'm in there. I got nothing to think about. So I'm like, okay, I could wake up all night, write my dreams and sleep a little later if I want in the morning. You got to get up for chow, but then I could take a nap later with the book on my chest, whatever. So I start recording all my dreams and I'm starting to have a lot of these dreams again. And I'm recording them, not knowing that I'm going to write the theory, but I'm kind of putting the pieces together. So then at some point I look at it and I come home and I go through all my papers and I got a stack of papers about all these dreams I recorded. And I also then started to do, I knew that I didn't want to be some guy who just says, these things exist. And I just, I feel like I had 55 different past lives. I may feel like that, but I feel like if you're going to put it out there for the world in book form, give us some type of structure around how you could prove it or how you could come up with some or sort of like a Baconian, Francis Bacon, Descartes, a Cartesian, Baconian sort of approach to the problem. That's what I wanted to do. So I started studying the workings of the neurological workings of the mind and the brain. So if I can understand how the mind works and how the brain works, maybe I can understand what's going on inside there and what's being activated when these dreams are occurring. And if there's a possibility we're being informed even seconds in advance that something is going to happen in the external environment that we're preparing for, which means even if it's 10 seconds, we could see into the future. So don't worry about, I've had dreams where I saw years into the future. Once again, I don't want to throw that out there because I'm like, okay, I can't kind of prove it. So let me start with what I can prove. And I put all the pieces together and I called it sleep aid. It's sleep aid is anticipatory incorporation dreams. So we're all familiar with the incorporation dreams, like the phone's ringing in your house and you're dreaming Scott's calling Mike on the phone and I'm not like picking it up. I'll get back to him later. I finally taken a nap. So you're playing a phone in your head in your dream because you don't want to deal with the phone in the external environment. That's an incorporation dream. You've incorporated the phone into your dream. So that's like happens to a lot of us. You could have a faulty radiator. You could have a train that goes by your house every once in a while. And you incorporate those things into dreams you're having because you don't want to be bothered. The mind doesn't want you to wake up. So it's easy to keep you asleep by putting those things in. Well, I did sleep aid, anticipatory incorporation dreams, meaning that something in our mind can anticipate the external event before it happens and incorporate that event into a dream. So once I put that out there, I wrote the theory. I connected all the dots upstairs in the mind. I used physics, psychology, neurology, And I put all the pieces together, and then I went to my agent, and I had a bestseller already in 20 languages, Mob Rules, international bestseller, translated into 20 languages. I've been published by, my latest book is the Borgata Trilogy, published by Simon & Schuster. I've been published by HarperCollins, Hachette, Penguin, all the biggest publishers. I go to my agent. I'm all super excited. I just wrote this theory about the human brain. I'm peeking behind the curtain that all of us want to peek behind and see if time really is an illusion and see if we could see into the future. And I've just proved basically that we could see within seconds, maybe sometimes a minute into the future. And she goes, "You're not a scientist." And I go, "And?" She goes, "You're not even a doctor." I go, "Yeah, but can you sell it?" It's She goes, "No, you have to have credentials." So I go, "You got to be kidding me. My credentials are in the book. Read the book. The theory's in there." "No." She goes, "I can't sell it. Impossible." So I kind of called a few people. Nobody wanted it. And then I said, let me try to get some blurbs from real scientists. I got a Nobel laureate to tell me I'm blown away. He goes, "I can't put my name to it because it's not proven." And he goes, kind of like veers off slightly into the paranormal at times. So I can't. He goes, "But I do believe it." And then I did get blurbs from the head microbiologist at New York University Hospital. I got a blurb from an MIT scientist who's world renowned. They gave me blurbs. They read it. They said they were blown away. So I got some cool blurbs. And then I just self-published it. And it doesn't make me no money. It took me a year to write. I get like $10, $15 now and then, for royalties. It's not like it's a niche crowd. That's why I was blown away when you guys just asked about it. I'm so thrilled. You have no idea. You made my week. But
we have a niche audience, so it's perfect,
cool. So I'm going to tell you. I want to come back already because I got one more theory about the human brain, and I'd love to. I'm planning on writing it when I finish the 3rd volume of the Borgata Trilogy, which I'm handing in a couple of weeks. Yeah, and when I write that, I'll give you guys a buzz again, and I'll send you copies so you could read it, and we could discuss
Love it.
Cool.
Love it.
Awesome.
I do have a question for you. You've spoken a lot about like the guilt you feel for like past actions, and like, so how do you as like a public figure like kind of find that balance to like own your past, but then also like promote your current identity and as a writer and a reform advocate and just a knowledgeable person? Like how do you balance that?
Yeah, it is. You got to reconcile those two things. You're right, and it wasn't easy in the beginning. So I ran from the whole true crime genre. I wanted to write that book I wanted to publish my book about the antebellum South. I loved, the 1800s is a favorite of mine. I loved studying the Civil War. I was blown away by things that happened in the Civil War. To think that this country, could leave, hundreds of thousands dead on the battlefields, blew my mind. So I had this, and the Civil War stuff, it's in there too. It leads up and through the Civil War. It starts in the 1830s. So I wanted, and it goes up and through the 1860s. So I wanted to publish that, and I resisted the whole true crime genre for a long time. I kept saying, people would say to me, "You could write." I'd send stuff to like an agent or a publisher, and they go, "You could write. Just give us your story. You're supposed to write what you know. We want your story. We want your story. We want the true crime stuff. We want to know." So I said, "But I never ratted. I can't give you names. I can't." So they eventually let me write my first book, which I was able to change the names and all the identifying facts. So it's kind of based, every crime I talk about in the book, I was either charged with or investigated for. But I changed enough where you don't know who I'm talking about, so I didn't hurt anybody else. And because I didn't want people to go, "Lou, you stood up 8.5 years, you did. Now you're going to rat us out in the book?" So kind of, now I talk to it's 30 years ago. Like people will still go online, like on YouTube, and go, "Oh, he's ratting now." I'm not ratting. I didn't put anybody in jail. I never would. I did my time. I kept my mouth shut. It's over. It's 30 years ago. Half the people I'm talking about are dead. The other half were in jail. It's all done. And I'm still not giving up anything that could hurt anybody. But anyway, it's sort of hard because I didn't want to go to that whole true crime thing. I didn't want to look back at it. I felt dirty. I felt, that's another thing. When you come out of the penitentiary, I remember being in the shower for like hours because you just want to like wash that. You feel like you've been in the belly of the beast, and you want to wash that sludge off you. It's like if you worked on your car all day and you were under your car and you got greasy hands. And my uncles were My uncles owned a body shop, and they would come on the holidays where their hands were still black. Like it was
My
probably
father.
yeah, it's incredible. You know, and like that sort of like, I felt like that coming out of the pen. I felt like my whole body from head to toe had a layer of that on me. So I didn't want to look back at that crime. When I was even in jail, and the wise guys used to go, "Hey, Lou, The Sopranos is on. It's great. You got to watch it." I'm like, "What are you watching that crap for? That's what got us here." You know? And then, you know, I didn't want to even think about that stuff. But eventually I watched The Sopranos. I thought they were great. But in the beginning, I couldn't do it.
No.
So I wrestled with it. And eventually I figured, okay, somebody offered me money. It was to write an article about prison. And I was like, I remember asking my father, and I go, "Dad, what do you think?" And my father, rest in peace, he's dead now. My father goes, "You got to, if that's what you want to do," he goes, "you got to kind of compromise." He said, "You know, maybe." My father was a level-headed guy. So I says, "All right." So I wrote it. I got paid $1,500, which was good. It was like a lot of money. You know, now I feel like I'm a writer who's paid. And then a short time thereafter, I tipped my hat. I met my life is weird. I meet a lot of great people, and I've been blessed in that way. And I meet Bill Yosis, who ends up becoming the White House pastry chef for the Bushes and stays with the Obamas. And I was like, whoa. I mean, he was an incredible guy. And he goes, "Look, I got an agent for you. I want to introduce you to her." And I was like, I met him at an event, and I'm like, you know, it's just like, I needed a break from it, like at that point in my life. And then I see him at another event, the head of the American Ireland Fund. I became really close with. He was originally, him and his wife were from Dublin, and I got really close with them, and they invited me to their events. And they invited me. I sat next to Liam Neeson and Natasha Richardson at one of the events. I felt bad when she died. I was with her like shortly before she died. And Liam Neeson was a gem of a guy. By the way, I don't think anybody realized how tall he is.
He's a big dude, yeah.
Oh man, he was like two of me. Yeah, I was like hugging his waist. But anyway,
that guy you met from the White House, did he have a book called White House Chef?
I think so. Bill Yosis.
Because I think I have it on like a bookshelf over
here.
I swear to God, because I got it from my ex, because she was a chef, and then she left me, so I took that book back. So it's my cookbook now. But yeah.
Well, now
She got the house, but I got the better part of the deal.
Yeah. I can introduce you to him. I'll try to connect you with him. He's a great guy. So he's written books. So that must be one of his. He's written a number of books, and that's how he introduced me to my agent. So I bump into him again at a housewarming for Kieran, who's the head of the American Ireland Fund. And he goes, "Why didn't you get in touch with me?" So I'm like, "Oh, what are the odds I met him again?" So I see him that week, and he meets me in the city, and he brings me up. And I had a 6-figure deal with HarperCollins before the week was up. So it was like, you know, I knew how to write. I just had to break down and give them what they wanted. And that sort of was like my entree into publishing books. And I was then able to I broke in. So I went through 3 years of like just really struggling to find my way and, you know, roughing it. And finally I lived my dream but it's still not my full dream, because I never wanted to write true crime. But so even the Borgata trilogy, which the reviews are really good. There was only one reviewer who nailed me. And I think they did it on a counter, because I'm not PC. And the book isn't, I'm never PC when I write. You know, I love all people. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just not going to follow the rules, you know? It's like, so, and I think they bashed me for that. But other than that, 99.9% of the reviews are rave. So the books, you know, thank God they're selling really well. And how that happened, I meet this guy. I was invited to Sicily for this German media conglomerate invites me to Sicily to do a speaking event. And I'm like, for editors from Eastern Europe. They're all from Eastern Europe, but they're having the meeting in Sicily. And I'm sitting next to this old man who I hit it off with right away. I like older guys because they have experience. And the guy turns out he's a historian, loves history, you know, an amateur historian. So we're going through like the Middle Ages, the Reformation, you know, the Enlightenment, and we're just going all night. And then he goes, "I want to publish your next book." And turns out he was one of the biggest, most prolific book publishers of the 20th century, Lord George Weidenfeld. and he published like the Double Helix by Crick and Watson. He published like the memoirs of Charles de Gaulle, Pope John Paul II. Yeah, you name it, he did it. And here he is. Here I meet him. And I'm the last book he like personally published. And he goes, I go, what do you want me to write? He goes, I want you to write a history of the mafia. So I'm like, oh, here we go again. But it turned out to be what I know, and I loved it. I got to tell you, I dove into it, and it earned me. I just became an associate fellow of the Royal Historical Society. So it kind of earned. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Lou, we could probably talk to you for another 2 hours and not even scratch the surface with you. It's really been an amazing conversation to have with you. A little fun for my final question. Is there anybody other than John Gotti that you will break out your rap career one more time for?
Never happened. That was for John, and that's it. Yeah, that was for John, and that's it. Some kid recently posted the cassette, and he dropped me an email, and he goes, "Hey, I do this thing on Instagram. I'm going to post your cassette," and he goes, he remembered me from back in the day. Yeah, he saw me like in a convertible vet one day, and everybody was talking, going, "Oh, that's the rap guy who did that John Gotti song." So I go, "Did you stop me? Did you say hello?" He goes, "No, I was a little younger than you at the time, but So yeah, so it's wild. So people still like, the cassettes and albums are still floating around out there. But yeah, that's like I can't even. I got to tell you, I love all music, and I just can't listen to rap. It's like one of the only things I can't listen to nowadays. My ears bleed. But I like LL Cool J. I think LL Cool J is still great, and I still love him as a guy, as a person. We talked online, great guy. But for the most part, a lot of the new rap I can't listen to. It's just not for me. But yeah, so probably not going to be going back that way.
Final question for me: with all those books you have behind you, and how many you just life of reading books and whatnot, is there something back there, or something that you read that people would not expect you to be into? Do you have like Calvin and Hobbes books back there? Do you what are you into that maybe we don't know?
Yeah, well, I got Calvin and Hobbes, so that's a start. Yeah. Wow, I had no idea you can pop out Calvin and Hobbes. This is great.
I am a giant fan. I have the whole collection.
That is
I think
awesome.
Bill Watterson was an absolute genius. But anyway.
Yeah. So incredible. So what do I got back there behind me that you wouldn't expect? I mean, you guys nailed it with the brain books. I guess that's like what most people wouldn't expect. The brain. Who comes up with a theory of the brain out of prison? What else though? Gosh, John Stuart Mill. I like. I love Napoleon. I mean, you'd expect that from me, though. You'd expect the Roman Empire. You'd expect stuff like that, right? I love the ancient Greeks. So yes. So I like multi-volume works.
Okay.
Guglielmo Ferraro wrote a great history of Rome, multi-volume. Theodore Mommsen, German, wrote another great one, History of Rome, great stuff. I like the multi-volume. Carlyle writes good. I read his French Revolution, but probably the brain books. That's probably. I got a theory on the dinosaurs too. You wouldn't expect that one, right? I got dinosaur books back there. You wouldn't expect that one, and the evolution of the Earth and in relation to the cosmos. So that, God willing, I get to. Maybe that's probably better for a video. You guys got video people, drop me a line if you know super video smart people who knows how to do like video editing and stuff.
Just send it on over. I got you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was hoping you were going to say you read the new Taylor Swift book or something that would really blew my mind. But that's what I was looking for. Something that would really throw us for a loop. But and real quick,
I got this great book, and let me tell you, Waldo is right there.
Yeah.
Real quick book recommendation for me, just because I read it again recently. Born Standing Up by Steve Martin. I think you should give it a read.
Standing Up. Okay, what's the genre like? What's it about? Like,
it's a biography of Steve Martin, the comedian, and what he went through in the 70s, and him dealing with anxiety. Meanwhile, selling out MSG and having panic attacks on planes, and talking about the rise and fall of his career, and how he just gave it up basically when he was the biggest thing on it. You should read it. It's a good book. Really easy read.
He's the first guy who ever did a mob movie, My Blue Heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's like way back when we were kids. Why before all the other ones?
Yeah.
And my favorite scene of his, by the way, was the jerk when he went like 10 feet. He went to the end. He goes, he took him 3 hours to load the car. And I go, where you going? He goes, the end of the picket fence.
Yeah. Excellent book. You should check it out.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the tip. I'll check it out. Thank you. Yeah.
Lou, where is the best place our audience can go to find your books, your next projects, or anything you're up to?
Yeah, so I would look for my name, Louis Ferrante, the Borgata trilogy. That's my new trilogy. Volume 1 and 2 are out. You ever want to talk about the JFK assassination? I'd love to come back. That's my expertise. I broke that all down, all with evidence. It's all cited in volume 2 in the back of the book. And I don't just say, I think that this happened. And I'm citing all evidence that's leaked out through FOIA requests over the decades. And I put the pieces together. So Borgata Trilogy, check out my website, louisferrante.com, or go directly to Amazon where you could purchase it, or any local bookstore. Barnes & Noble carries the book. If they don't, they're out. You could order it, but pretty much anywhere. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Louis. We're definitely going to get in contact with you. We definitely want to bring you on another time. It's been an absolutely blast talking with you, and wish you luck on the next book, and we're definitely going to be in touch with you.
Same here. Thanks, fellas. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you still got the dinosaurs, evolution. We got a million things to cover.
Definitely. Wait till you hear my dinosaur theory. It's going to blow your mind.
You imagine the adrenaline of working for the mob and being in heists and doing this, and all these years later having to sit down and talk to the two of us, like where the joy and the adrenaline and how fired up you have to be, and then down the line your career you're talking to us.
Like, if we talk to enough mobsters, we might be able to bring the mafia back into the streets of the United States. And like, maybe we can get a move in, and maybe the unions will get stronger, and maybe the economy will go up a little bit more for the Teamsters. I don't know.
You think we can get the mob as a sponsor on the show? This episode is brought to you by the mob.
Every store needs insurance. Believe me, you want to get our insurance.
But very fascinating guest. I wonder if he would agree with some of your strategies in prison.
I think so. I think my soup strategy is just worldwide, going to work regardless of what country you're in jail for.
Mike, what do you got?
Well, Scott, to keep on this premise of the mafia and everything, there's the only thing more interesting and exciting to kind of hear these stories, watch these movies. The only other really great part is the gangster nickname.
Oh,
and
of course.
Scott, I got a list of 11 right here, and I got a little game for you. Simply enough, I'm going to say a nickname out loud that either I found is related to a mobster's name or made up on the spot. So you need to tell me if you respect the family, means that's a real nickname, or forget about it because I made it up.
Okay. Mikey Oil Cans.
Yeah.
Merlot. So
yeah, respect the family. That's respect the family.
All right, I'm in.
All right.
I could use a win here, so I'm actually I don't even remember. I might have won something I played recently, but it's been a while. So let's get into this.
All right. First nickname, the Itch.
The Itch. Does he have a name, or we're just getting the nickname?
I'm just giving the nickname. You either tell me, yes, that's associated with a mobster, or nope, Burlou, you made it up.
I'm going to respect the family. I feel like Johnny the Itch, Gongulio or something could definitely be a mobster's name.
Could be, but not this time, Scott. There's nothing. Nobody I've found named the Itch. I'm sorry.
All right.
All right. We got Applecore Abbey.
Applecore Abbey. Now, this sounds made up, or sounds like one of the animals at the farm coffee stand that you would go see. Like, I'm going to see Mr. Cow and Applecore Abbey. I'm going to go with respect the family.
Sorry, Scott. Burlou made that one up too. 2 in a row.
Are you kidding me? 0 for 2.
0 for 2. I mean, why would I lie about? Why would I take a mobster's name and be like, ha ha, made it up, ha ha?
Maybe you don't want to sell them out. Maybe you're part of it.
No, well, I mean, I'm in the clink and all with my soup. I don't want to start any trouble.
All right. Enough of your soup. Give me number 3.
Nicky Nails.
I mean, Nicky Nails has to be a mobster. I respect the family. Come on, there has to be a Nicky Nails somewhere.
Nick the Dodge, part of the Albanian mob, was nicknamed Nicky Nails, Scott.
So all great people are nicknamed Nails. Lenny Dykstra, Nicky Nails. It's a good family name that you should give to your children.
Okay. Juice Bucket Jones.
Oh, man. Juice Bucket Jones. This can go either way. I'm gonna go with forget about it. I feel like maybe you made this one up.
I totally made that one up, Scotty. All right. You're back to 500.
Let's go. Juice Bucket Jones, empty oil can Burloo. Let's do it.
All right. Abba Dabba.
Abba Dabba? Well, one, if this is a real name, not a great choice. Like, it doesn't flow off the tongue. Like, hey, I'm going to have Abba Dabba come pick up the gear. But I'm going to go with that's real. I'm going to go with respect the family there.
Otto Berman, accountant for the gangster Dutch Schultz. Fun fact, he's known for coining the phrase, nothing personal, it's just business.
Abba Dabba. What a terrible nickname. Actually, I don't know who's listening to this. What a great nickname. That is a perfect nickname.
All right. You're 3 for 2, Scott. And I have 11 here, so you have to get the 6 here.
Okay.
Junior Lollipops.
This sounds like one of your nicknames. You're the Lollipop King. I'll go with that's real. Respect the family.
Joseph Carna.
Yes.
Carna was a captain in the Colombo crime family, and he was known as Junior Lollipops.
Again, guys, like, you're big tough guys. Junior Lollipops and Abacadabra are coming over. That just it doesn't really.
Yeah, they got to like murder a lot of people to get the respect when you have those nicknames.
Yeah, you got to be a real badass to be feared and called Junior Lollipops.
Exactly. All right, so you're at 4 right now. You're doing pretty good, Scott. Shadow Eyes.
Shadow Eyes. I just think of The Nightman Cometh, always sunny there. We're gonna go with that one is fake. We're gonna go with forget about it on that one.
You're on the roll, Scotty. I totally made that one up.
All right. I can just see you being like, Izzy, call me Shadow Eyes. And she's like, no. I'm like, all right, I'll use it for the game instead.
Yeah. All right. And you're almost, I think that's 5 right now. So you're on good pace to take this win here tonight. Pip the Blind.
Pip the Blind. I'm going to go with that's definitely real. Pip the Blind.
Joseph Gagliano, the mastermind of one of the biggest opium rings in the country. Scott, that is totally real. We're not even, we're like 3/4 done. You already got this game and all. We got 3 more to go.
Finally, a convincing win. Give me the other 2.
Yeah. 3, right?
3.
Next one up, Pressed Ham.
Pressed Ham. Now that's a good mob name. That is someone who comes through the door like, oh no, Pressed Ham is here. We're going to rip fingers off. I hope you didn't make this up, so I'm just going to go with it's real.
Sorry, that's totally me right there.
Pressed Ham.
Chick 99.
Chick 99. I guess that's real.
Frank Callis. Name is most frequently associated with the Lucchese and Genovese crime families here. Chick 99. It doesn't really roll off the tongue like a mobster name.
Sounds like an old AOL screen name.
It sounds like an alt band from the 90s that like opened a show for somebody.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm still wishing Pressed Ham was the real guy.
Dare to dream, Scott. Dare to dream. Final one, Yeast Baron.
This sounds like a STD. I'm going to go with yes. He was the yeast baron. He was a real guy. He was during Prohibition.
Giuseppe Siragusa, boss of the Pittsburgh crime family, Scott. Damn, you totally know your mobster nicknames.
I watched a lot of mob movies growing up. I still do. I guess I just know nicknames and what's real.
Yeah,
what's not.
but unfortunately, you watched the movies where Pressed Ham was coming in and blowing up everybody and thought wrong of everything.
Well, Pressed Ham, there's still time. Lou did say the mob is still around.
Still out there. No,
yeah.
like I hope all that NBA gambling stuff, they're reading off and Giuseppe Gadadori, a.k.a. Pressed Ham.
All right, Mike, real quick, I have a quiz for you. Okay. I want to find what your role in the mob would be if you were in the mob. So I'm just going to give you a couple questions here. I want you to answer them honestly. Okay.
All right.
When making a big decision with your team, how do you usually lead the process? A, I enforce guidelines and keep everyone focused on deadlines. B, I take charge, set the vision, and delegate roles to everyone. C, I offer strategic advice and mediate different viewpoints impartially. D, I oversee details, ensure each step runs smoothly and as planned. Or E, I coordinate tasks among team members to execute plans.
I would definitely say B.
B, I take charge, set the vision. All right, Mike.
Yeah, it's more like, here's the goal. We're going to get to this. Listen to me. We're going to get through this right there.
Do you know who I am?
Mm-hmm.
Feeling a little empty right now. And you don't want to see Oil Can Burley when he's feeling empty. So why don't we fill this can up and get the job done?
Exactly.
When friends are in a conflict, which role do you naturally adopt to resolve the issue? I quietly counsel both sides, backing the leader's wishes. I propose fair compromises until everyone agrees. I boss them around to make them stop. I step in physically or assertively to separate them, or I assign tasks to everyone to keep everyone occupied and calm.
I think B again. That totally sounds like
fair compromises until everyone agrees.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your ideal weekend activity when spending time with your close-knit group? You like to delegate tasks like meal prep and cleaning chores? I map out the weekend schedule and logistics. I listen closely and help settle any disputes. I host dinners, make toast, and keep spirits high. Or I organize competitive games where rules are clear.
I'm going to go with C on this one.
I listen closely and settle disputes. That's how you spend your weekend?
That's all I do. And I just sit on the porch and just hope neighbors walk by with a dispute. I'm like, I'm here. Continue. Shout it.
You wait by people's doors and wait for the sound of fighting and just kind of knock on the door.
I mean, it's tougher now because I don't have neighbors on either side. So I had to really wait for a long time during the weekend. That's why I need the whole weekend.
In group discussions, how do others typically describe the style of your communication?
Is terrible an option?
Diplomatic and thoughtful, charismatic and authoritative, calm and supportive, energetic and task focused, or blunt and direct?
D.
Energetic and task focused?
Yeah.
Wow. I was thinking you're going to be more like calm and supportive. But
I crack jokes in between, so I would say that's energetic. So
I'm sure they're wonderful jokes. When a promising opportunity arises, what's the first thing you do to approach it? I seize the moment and grab it quickly and trust my gut. I gather my crew, assign roles, and act fast. I consult my team to plan essential steps first. I envision long-term influence and control before deciding, or I ask your advice to refine the best approach.
I am going to go with A. I just grab it.
Who is this man you are describing in your answer?
The old oil can, baby.
You're assertive. You're well thought out. You solve people's problems.
Damn right.
What is this oil can Burlow that I don't know?
Well, I mean, I can't. If I was assertive to you, then you'd be like, oh, I don't think I can handle this oil can Burloo and like try to move the podcast in other directions and all. I'm strategic in what I do on this microphone, and then I take care of business once we shut the Zoom off.
No, you don't. You don't take care of any business. What are you talking about?
I take care of Burloo business. Don't you worry about that.
What is Burloo business? Like, what was an item of Burloo business today to take?
Hey, I was the one to put my foot down and said, I'm looking for this dog's owner. We're not taking a third dog this week.
Mm-hmm. Until flash forward 3 episodes, Scott.
Yeah. Well, that's why I got to be assertive, because I got to keep on repeating this task.
I want you to meet Kali Gush. Her name rolls right off the tongue. Mike, if you were in the mob, your job would be the consigliere.
Ooh.
You are the wise advisor.
Very much so.
Here we go. Who provides balanced counsel and mediates disputes. You listen actively, analyze options, and guide others toward common ground. People trust your discretion and rely on you, on your clarity to maintain harmony. Continue honing your diplomatic insight. Your steady perspective brings stability to any situation. I cannot believe that's how you describe yourself, Mike. Stability.
I got a tear in my eye. Can you print that out and send it to me so I could frame it?
Yeah, the consigliere. That's what you are.
If I could say it, I would say it right now.
Yeah, what are you again, Mike?
Consigliere.
Well,
I'm a guy named Larry who's a consigliere.
All right. Well, it's time for the oil can and the pressed ham to get on out of here.
Can we change our names to that?
Well, we can start over.
I would listen to that show. Hold up.
I mean, we can start over tomorrow. Just delete all the rest of this crap and start with Lou. Burloo, anything to promote before we get out of here?
Well, I'm going to send a shout out to a former guest of ours. I received a text from Barry Black. For those who don't remember, he is a former FBI bomb agent who worked on the Oklahoma City bombing and the Atlanta Olympics bombing, all the investigations there. He's putting together a book called Hazardous Devices, Memoir of an FBI Bomb Technician, Accountant, and Sniper. I don't have an official date yet on the release. It's supposed to be coming in a few months, but I wanted to make you all aware it's coming. Barry was a great guest. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting him back on to promote the book, but check it out when it comes out. The author is Barry Black. The working title is going to be Hazardous Devices, Memoir of an FBI Bomb Technician, Accountant, and Singer.
I was hoping you were gonna say you got a text from Barry saying your house is going to blow up.
Got the oil cans in trouble.
I will promote a show coming up here on the 29th at Old York Cellars and Ringo's. I will be featuring. I will be with Ryan Marr, Helene Engley, and my good friend Coleman Green. I haven't got to work with him in a while. He's a hilarious comedian. It's a really nice winery if you're into wine. It's a really cool room, and it's their last show of the season. So come on out. Tickets are available at Old York Cellars. Just look them up online. Ringo's, New Jersey. Well, that's it, guys. It is Thanksgiving week. We have a little special coming out for you. We're gonna have 2 episodes this week. We have obviously today's episode with Lou, and then we're gonna be dropping a little Thanksgiving special on Thanksgiving Eve.
Ta-da!
We know Mike is a big fan of Veterans Day Eve, but he's an even bigger fan of Thanksgiving Eve, which you're going to get a bonus episode from us of a bunch of silliness that you've come to expect around the holidays with us. So with the Thanksgiving themed guest. So it should be a cool episode. So look for 2 episodes from us this week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. And that's it. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
And you got a dispute called the oil can.
And you got a dispute on the consigliere.